Ave Maria. Well, I hope you had a blessed day so far. I know that the Lord and Our Lady has a lot in store for us still. So the only thing that we are called to do is to persevere and to be open to all the blessings and all the graces that this day may bring to us and to our families. Some of those of you that were very well prepared and you looked very clearly at the itinerary, you might have been looking forward to a homily from our Deacon Adam. As you know, he's a little bit younger than me, so I'm not here as Deacon Adam because the age doesn't allow me to do so, but I'm here in his absence. So he couldn't be with us here today, so I very quickly had to prepare a little homily for you. And as I was praying and asking really the Lord for his guidance and his inspiration, I remembered a retreat that I went to only 2 weeks ago. It's a special retreat for priests. We've been doing that retreat for the last 6 years. It's a walking retreat. It's taking place in Italy. We are following the oldest walking pilgrim's route from Canterbury to Rome. And it's called Via Francigena. But because, you know, us priests, we are a little bit wimpy, we've decided to start halfway through. So we've started on the Mount of St. Bernard, and we are walking all through Italy, around 20 kilometers per day, 5 days a week each year. This year, we walked in Tuscany region, and we stayed in Siena, and we walked all around the villages following that route every single day. But every morning we began with a mass. We went to which took place in the cathedral in Siena, inside of a tiny little chapel, which is the heart of that cathedral. It's the chapel that is dedicated to Our Lady of the Vow. And it is really important for anybody in Siena, because when Siena was under invasion, the Sienese people used to go there and pray to Our Lady. And they made a vow. They made a vow that if she protects them, she will be the mother of Siena. And she protected them. And as a result, this amazing medieval town is totally immaculate. The buildings haven't been damaged by ravages of war, by invasions over the years. And that shrine of Our Lady of the Vow is there. And we had that huge blessing to pray in that shrine every single day. One day, it was on the second day, as we were getting ready for the Mass, I've noticed in the sacristy on the side a huge, beautiful, brand new icon. Those that know me, they would know that I'm attracted to glittery things. That icon was all covered in gold. And it was an image, an icon of Our Lady, Mother of the Church. Matre Ecclesiae. Absolutely beautiful. It was an image of Our Lady, and she had her cloak on her, and under the cloak she had all this array of saints, many people who have been living and dead. Everybody was under her protection, under her cloak. I was really impressed with that image, and of course I took a picture of it and I meditate on it from time to time. Hence, this long introduction was just to tell you that one of the things I wanted to say today is to tell you about this new feast that Pope Francis had given to the Church last year, a feast to Our Lady, venerated under the title of Mother of the Church. Therefore, she is our mother. And I don't know if you had the chance to follow the decree that was issued by the Congregation for the Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments that promulgated that feast. But I thought I would try to read some of them aspects of that feast and then say a little bit about the homily that Pope Francis had delivered on the very first celebration of that beautiful feast, because he said very simple but remarkable things to us all. So the decree on the celebration of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church, in the general Roman calendar, begins by saying, the joyous veneration given to the Mother of God by the contemporary Church in the light of reflection on the mystery of Christ and on his nature cannot ignore the figure of a woman, the Virgin Mary, who is both the Mother of Christ and the Mother of the Church. In some ways, this was already present in the mind of the Church from the intuitive words of St. Augustine and St. Leo the Great. St. Augustine said that Mary is the mother of the members of Christ, because with charity she cooperated in the rebirth of the faithful into the Church. While St. Leo the Great said that the birth of the head is also the birth of the body, thus indicating that Mary is at once mother of Christ, the Son of God, and mother of the members of his mystical body, which is the Church. Now, these considerations derive from the divine motherhood of Mary and from her intimate union in the work of the Redeemer, which culminated at the hour of the cross. Indeed, the mother standing beneath the cross accepted her Son's testament of love and welcomed all people in the person of the beloved disciple as sons and daughters to be reborn into life eternal. She thus became the tender mother of the Church, which Christ begot on the cross, handing on the Spirit. Christ, in turn, in the beloved disciple, chose all disciples as ministers of his love towards his mother, entrusting her to them, so that they might welcome her with filial affection. As a caring guide to the emerging Church, Mary had already begun her mission in the upper room, praying with the apostles while awaiting the coming of the Holy Spirit. In this sense, in the course of the centuries, Christian piety has honored Mary with various titles, in many ways equivalent, such as Mother of Disciples, Mother of the Faithful, Mother of Believers, Mother of those who are reborn in Christ, and also as Mother of the Church, and is used in the text of spiritual authors as well as in the magisterium of Popes Benedict XVI and Leo XIII. Thus, the foundation is clearly established by which Blessed Paul VI, on the 21st of November in 1964, at the conclusion of the third session of the Second Vatican Council, he declared that the Blessed Virgin Mary is the Mother of the Church, that is to say, Mother of all Christian people, the faithful as well as the pastors, who call her the most loving mother, and established that the Mother of God should be further honored and invoked by the entire Christian people by this tenderness of titles. Therefore, the Apostolic See, on the occasion of the Holy Year of Reconciliation, and that was the year 1975, proposed a special votive Mass in honor of Beata Maria Ecclesiae Matre, Blessed Mary, Mother of the Church, which was subsequently inserted into the Roman Missal. Having attentively considered how greatly the promotion of this devotion might encourage the growth of the maternal sense of the Church in the pastors, in religious, and in the faithful, as well as the growth of genuine Marian piety, Pope Francis has decreed that the memorial of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church, should be inscribed in the Roman calendar on the Monday after Pentecost and be now celebrated every year. So that's what Pope Francis, in the decree, gave to us on the 11th of February 2018, on the memorial of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Lourdes. Of course, he left the way through which that feast or memorial is celebrated in different countries, in different dioceses, and in different churches to the local ordinaries, to their bishops. He left it to their discernment, and it's up to our local bishops to choose how to mark it. Here in England, since we are the dowry of Mary, we've been very much encouraged to celebrate that feast and to put ourselves under the protective mantle of our Blessed Virgin Mary. So Pope Francis then, after promulgating that feast, he celebrated it for the first time this year on Monday after Pentecost. He celebrated it in the chapel of Santa Marta in the Vatican, where he celebrates Mass every day if he is not on visitation. And that Mass was the very first Mass in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church. Therefore, your mother, and therefore my mother. Now, in his homily, Pope said that in the Gospels, Mary is always described as the mother of Jesus. She is never addressed as the lady or the widow of Joseph. Her motherliness, he says, is empathized throughout the Gospels, beginning with the Annunciation. This is a quality that was noted immediately by the fathers of the Church, a quality that applies also to the Church herself. And then the Pope reminded us that in the Greek language, two words that are used to describe Our Lady are both feminine. So the Church is feminine because it is church and bride, both grammatically feminine. It is feminine, therefore. As she is mother, she gives life. Bride and mother. And the fathers go further to say that even your soul is the bride of Christ and mother. And it is with this attitude that comes from Mary, who is mother of the Church, with this attitude we can understand this feminine dimension of the Church, which it is not there, the Church loses its identity and becomes a charitable organization or a football team or whatever, but not the Church. And then the Pope said something quite kind of descriptive, but he made a very clear point. He said, only a feminine church will be able to have fruitful attitudes, in accordance with the intention of God, who chose to be born of a woman in order to teach us the path of women. The important thing is that the church be a woman which has this attitude of a bride and of a mother. When we forget this, it becomes a masculine church. So without this dimension, it suddenly becomes a church of old bachelors who live in this isolation, those that are incapable of loving, incapable of giving life, of fecundity. Without the woman, the church does not advance, because she is a woman. And this attitude of woman comes from Mary, because Jesus willed it so. And then Pope Francis emphasized the tenderness that Our Lady has, the Church has, a tenderness that every mother has. He said, the virtue that primarily distinguishes a woman is tenderness, like the tenderness of Mary. When she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, she cared for him with meekness and humility, which are the great virtues of mothers. A church that is a mother goes along the path of tenderness. It knows the language of such wisdom, of caresses, of silence, of the gaze that knows compassion, that knows silence. It is to a soul, a person who lives out this way of being a member of the church, knowing that he or she is like a mother and must go along the same path. A person who is gentle, tender, smiling, full of love. And I was thinking that these are the virtues, these are the descriptions that I think we all want to have as Christians, as the followers of Jesus, as the followers of Mary, as members of the church. We would like people to describe us when they look at us and tell us that we are gentle, that we are tender, that we are smiling, and that we are full of love. Now, if you feel that some of these virtues at this moment or these adjectives, people will not use to describe you, there is no need to worry or no need to despair, because we are in the right place. By turning to Our Lady, by putting ourselves under her mantle, she will provide for us everything that we lack, because she has what we are lacking. And now, if Mary, as the mother of the church, has all the virtues and the motherly attitudes that we are lacking, we definitely need to put ourselves under her, be close to her, feel part of her, the church. Be open to evangelizing, so that that fecundity could be within us, so that others could see the love and tenderness that the church has for them. I really hope and I pray that this day that we spend here in the parish, on this day with Mary, will bear fruit. that will help us to be different people when we leave the church, when we come to the end of this day. You see, the challenge is that sometimes we do so many holy things, but we never become holy. We stay our old selves. Well, Our Lady wants to teach us otherwise. As members of her body, being with her as the mother of the church, we want her to help us and to teach us and to turn our hearts like hers. Hearts that are gentle, hearts that are loving, hearts that are reaching out to the other, hearts that are caring for the other, hearts that are open and searching for those who for one reason or another are no longer part of the church. We have that duty as Christians to put others into the motherly embrace. Coming from families, from Christian families, nobody gives us a guarantee that all our members, all our brothers, sisters, that all your children will be perfectly raised as Catholics. Sadly, the reality of many Catholic families these days is that even though the parents lived very good, and we can even say exemplary life in terms of their relationship with God and the Church, somehow they were not able to pass it on and transmit it to the next generation. How many of the parents ask, "What have I done wrong? Why my children are no longer practicing?" Or why they leave Catholic Church and join other churches. That's if they still have a sense of God in them. Why they cannot feel and know that our Blessed Mother is the mother of the Church, is their mother. Why do they search for some adoptive mothers? Why do they feel so much orphaned and don't feel part of the family? You know, sometimes we have no clear answers to these questions, but we know one thing. We have a mother, and that mother has a cloak, and there is a room for everyone in this world. She is our mother. She is the mother of the Church. She is your mother and the mother of your children, even if sometimes they still struggle to enter into relationship with her. So may this prayer today help us all to grow in that intimate and loving relationship with God. And instead of thinking about the areas of our life when we don't find happiness and joy, let's have our hearts filled with gratefulness for what we receive, for the love that the Church as the Mother constantly has for us, for this new beautiful feast that we can celebrate. The feast which is about us, the feast that is for us, and the feast that reminds us that we are never, ever alone. Let's thank God for every moment when we come to the church and the Mass is offered for us. Not because of how few priests we've got, but that we still have priests and we can receive Christ in the sacrament. Let's thank God that there are still priests that can listen to our confession and give us absolution, removing the heaviness and the burden that sin puts in our hearts. Let us thank God for all those that are still there for us when we need them. They will listen to us. They will provide the sacrament of healing for us. Instead of concentrating on the negatives, let's see how much loved and blessed we are. Who can complain that we still have mother? Who can complain and be disappointed that this mother really, really loves us and reaches out towards us? Why are we unhappy? Maybe we've lost our sense of that motherhood as well with the Blessed Virgin Mary. I don't know. But there is something that definitely we can take. And I really hope that we will take some of that joy, some of a blessing, and some of the happiness that is in our hearts, because we have mother. She is our mother. She is the mother of the Church. Therefore, whatever happens in our life, we will never be orphans, because our mother is in heaven. And long may she reign. Ave Maria.